Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 204 of Hotline League. It is a great night tonight because LCS is back. We have stuff to talk about. Things happened. Games were played. My God, it's been so long. So we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about that. We have a great guest on who I will introduce shortly. We also have, probably around halfway through the show, a cool TGI announcement. And it's not. Hopefully, you guys all get excited about it. I don't want to super overhype everyone's expectations, but it's pretty cool for Travis Gafford Industries and associated individuals. But we'll get to that in a bit. First off, my constant co-host is here. Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Had a pretty eventful day. I streamed myself making Blame Game in the morning. So people got to see how many fucking takes it takes me to actually nail my lines. It took me a half an hour. And it's all going to get chopped down to a 7-minute video, including like 3 hours of prep. So I did that, played some Genshin, then built some furniture, got a new coffee table.
Oh,
you know, shit's popping over here.
Yeah, did you not have a coffee table when I last visited, or did you?
I had a coffee table, but this one's bigger and better.
Okay. Did the other one get broken by animals in your home?
Yeah, my fat ass cat somehow broke a coffee table, Travis.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it scratched it a ton, and there's all this. The cats are very damaging to furniture. So
no, it's fine.
Okay. Really quickly? What is? I haven't even looked at the outline for it yet. What is the show tomorrow about? The Blame Game?
Well, it comes out Wednesday. First off,
yes, I know, but it's getting edited tomorrow.
One is Abadaga on his Syndra game versus FlyQuest, and one is a certain top laner Scion build.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who played Scion. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah? You don't remember that game?
Oh, well, I'm excited to hear that. Okay, well, the voice you just heard now is Guilhoto. You may know him formerly from his time at Immortals or some other teams outside the North America region before then, but now the newly minted coach of Team Liquid. How's it going, Guilhoto?
Going great. Not as an eventful day as Mark's. Did not play Genshin. But just managed to wake up a bit later than usual since it was our first free day. And I am spending my first free day with both of you, which is great.
I was going to say, what a mistake.
Yes. Well, to be clear, it's 7 o'clock at night here, so I don't think you're spending your day with us. I think the day's almost done.
What's an Andre free day? Like, what's your relaxation time? What do you do?
The week after. So
What'd you
there's
say?
no more. There's not much time to relax. It's just prepare what we want to do for the next week.
So you were working today.
Yeah.
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 Well,
It is what it is.
Yes, exactly. Either way, glad to have you on the show with us. Really quick shout out to Alienware and Gamefield for sponsoring. But what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, lock-in has occurred, which is fantastic. There are games to talk about. Not everyone is running their full team. Some players or some teams are not even running any of their team. So we'll discuss that. What else has happened? I guess there's all the conversation for the new broadcast. People can call in, and Mark will be sure to take any call that you take about how Mark is the best and Jat sucks, and we'll talk about that on the show.
No, we won't.
Just kidding.
A funny thing about my week was I put that video out, everyone very supportive. And then on fucking Wednesday, Kobe was sick. So I did the dive and this or that. Then when I had made that video, I don't want to say too much here, but like when I made the video, I didn't know what the talent assignments for the first week were. And then I ended up, I had the analyst desk day 1 and I cast day 2 and day 3. And so I was on like literally every piece of Riot content for the first week. And I'm like, I swear I'm not lying. I swear nothing I said in that video was a lie. I felt a little silly though.
I contend that they intentionally, after you put out that video, were like, we're gonna hit this guy with as much content as possible to make him look like a jerk.
No, they didn't do that.
Yeah. Yes, I thought it was great. But be sure to subscribe to this channel so that Mark can continue.
No, sub to my own channel. Don't sub here.
One thing I will say, I almost forgot about this, and I went and looked at the subreddit. What came out the day after we did the show last week is a article titled "Riot Games is investigating a top esports team founder over bullying allegations." So I'm sure we'll have a call or two about that. You can't have a TSM topic, and this one's pretty spicy, of course.
So before we get into calls, do you want to just ask Guilhoto about how lock-in has been for Team Liquid? Because
I was just going over the topics, but if I do want to dive in. No, it's good. I think that's mostly it. I can't think of anything unless Twitch chat will remind us if that's the case, but if we forgot anything. But no, but yeah, go ahead. Why don't you kick us off with some questions for Guilhoto?
Well, I just mean...
did, right?
What's that?
Yeah, you just did. You want me to answer that?
Yeah, just how was lock-in week 1? How does it match up with your expectations? Was EG better than you thought? Did you guys just have an off game? Like some of that kind of stuff.
I don't think any of those things needs to be true. That EG had is better than I thought, or that we had an off game. I think EG is a good team. Probably the team that is practicing with the full roster for the longest amount of time, and that things do matter a lot when it comes to a tournament like lock-in.
Don't you feel like 100 T might be the team?
It was like one of the good games.
Doesn't it feel like 100 T might be the team that was practicing with their lineup the longest?
Okay, but they're in a different group. You know, I'm not going to play against them. You know,
sure.
In terms of our group, they're the team that's practicing with this roster longest.
Yeah.
And I think that they're a really good team. I mean, they were already when with all the signings. Disregarding the hype or not about JoJo, like all the other 4 pieces were already very proven, incredible players, right? Inspired won the MVP in LEC. Impact has always been Impact. Vulcan, until Core gets his green card, is still the best resident support in NA. And obviously Danny had a fantastic split. So I think that EG is just one of the strongest teams, and honestly, our game against EG was a game that both teams could have won. I think it was a game very well disputed, and in the end, on some details, they were better than us, so then they won. In terms of practice, obviously, it becomes a bit harder for us when we have to practice on both teams, but when one door closes, a window opens, and I think that this Core JJ situation is a perfect situation for us to show the talent that we have in Academy, both Ayla and Yon. And I can see some bot lanes are struggling in lock-in, and I feel like the bot lanes that we have shown are better than a lot of the bot
did we lose you?
lanes that are playing lock-in from other LCS teams.
I don't know if that was just on my end, but it was a little broken for a second. Guilhoto, one quick question for you though. Why not just run one of the bot lanes? Why swap between the two of them? Is it just to showcase the academy side, or is it to make sure that the 2 LCS players have consistent practice? Like, why swap back and forth?
So we have been practicing with both bot laners. Obviously, at the start we started with Core and Yon because Hansama and Bwipo only arrived, I think it was like around the 10th of January. And since we had practice with both bot laners, and I see that all 4 players are incredibly hardworking, I think it's just fair to give all 4 players games, because during the weeks of practice, all 4 of them deserved. So I think it just makes sense for us, since it's a lock-in tournament with where you are supposed to do experiments, for us to have a reading also on officials, which of the bot lanes we feel more comfortable, and obviously showcasing the talent that we have, because all 4 of the players deserve to play.
Yeah. Mark, I don't know if you have questions.
No, I just how long do you think Core JJ will be able to hold on to his job with Ayla around?
I don't think that question should go for Core. I think that question should go at least for other 5 supports in the league, especially knowing that Ayla is a resident.
You're not wrong. You look fucking good this weekend.
Yeah, no, super.
He looked really good.
Yeah,
he looked really good. And it's not that he looked really good. He is really good. I think as well that people are not giving enough credit to Yon. But him and Core just played against what I think is probably the best bot lane in the tournament, better than FBI Huhi. At least I wasn't necessarily too impressed. I think that last year they were playing better. Obviously, everyone's still getting back to the rhythm, right? But I think they played versus one of the best, if not the best, bot laners in the tournament. And honestly, throughout the whole game, I think that Jon still had some fantastic plays. I think that if we are playing versus Dig or CLG with Jon and Core, then I still think that they will be incredibly well. And I see a lot of people talking about Ayla and not enough people talking about Jon, when I also think he did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Big important question. Did Bjerg get fined for rage quitting out of the game 3 times this weekend?
I mean, I think that's public, no? I am not like leaking anything here, right?
Did it? I mean, I had heard a rumor, so I'm curious.
People were talking about it on Reddit that he's going to get fined 3 times for all the times he left early.
I'm pretty sure if I had to guess, he probably got a warning the first time, and then he might have gotten fined.
I don't know if it's 3 or 2 or 1. I do know that Riot does fine because of it. I know that Revenge last year was fined a lot because of the Alt F4. So I mean, obviously, like, that's not something that it's my job to worry about. Someone else on TL will worry about that, and obviously Bjergsen will have to worry about that as well. But maybe he did. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I do think that rule is a bit. I mean,
I think they just don't want to see somebody as disconnected on screen whenever, because they want to use those Nexus explosions, I feel like, for highlight reels, and then you can't use them whenever, or any footage, whatever. You just have giant text over the top. It's like, Bjergsen just quit the game. It's, I mean, unless it's somebody actually rage quitting on the other team, then you get like Dardoch quit the game, and that's actually pretty good footage.
Yeah, but they like when someone disconnects, it still doesn't appear, I think, or does it? Maybe it does. I don't know.
I think it does. It shows.
We all saw it. Yeah.
No. I'm saying like when someone disconnects, not when someone Alt F4s at the end, but if like someone the internet just cuts, you know?
I think it does, because that's usually you see that and then you immediately see a pause on screen.
Maybe it does.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think it's just a habit that like a lot of players have been a while since they are only playing solo queue and not competitive. Bjergsen has been in that situation more than others.
Yeah.
Since he didn't play competitive the whole year. And obviously, when you are in solo queue, you just want to go next once you explode the Nexus. So you just Alt F4 is just a habit. Of course, he has to get rid of it if it's a rule of Riot. But I don't think it's like, I mean, just get fined because you Alt F4, you know, in a lock-in tournament.
And I'm sure Bjergsen's making so much money, he wipes his ass with that amount. It's probably not that big of a fine.
I mean, it's still a fine, you know? Like... And I don't know how much money he makes. If you wanted to get out of me, like, obviously, I don't know how much.
Mark was not trying to get out of me.
What percentage of money was the fine of Bjergsen's salary?
Yeah. All right, Mark, you have any other questions for Guilhoto, or should we hop into it?
I'm down to get it going.
Okay.
I'm still pulling calls. I'll do the spiel this time.
Yeah, do the spiel, because it's been a couple episodes.
So for people who haven't seen the show before, this is a live call-in show, so you'll be able to talk to Guilhoto. I'm spamming the Discord link in Twitch chat right now. Go ahead and join up on Discord. Once you get in here, go and join one of the voice channels, Pleb Calls or Pleb Calls 2. You will hang out in there, mute your microphone. Please don't breathe into people's ears. And then in the text channels up above, Pleb Topics, that's where you're actually going to go write in your take. You think the TL's overhyped, you think they're going to win the lock-in tournament, put in whatever you want. If we like your take, we'll pull you from there into the waiting room where you will hang out until it's your turn to come on air. After that, we'll do a quick little mic test, make sure you sound good, and then you'll be here asking Guilhoto your question.
And if you are a sub, thank you for subbing, first off. Secondly, make sure you sync with Discord your Twitch stuff so that you can get access to those subtopics chat. It does not guarantee you being on the show, but it does move a little slower, so it's easier, I think, for Mark to sometimes pull from that channel. And we try to pull a mix from both. So keep an eye out from there. While Mark is pulling the final caller, or he's calling a final caller, he's pulling the final callers into the group, but also he's off to grab our first one. I want to give a shout out to some subs. Thank you to Kanoke, Graysview, Phoenix, Big White Goon, A Drunk Summoner, iNuber for a year, Zachary, GG, D-Fitch with the tier 2, thank you, Franz League, and Biagio. Thank you, everybody who's subbing. It's always very much appreciated and very helpful. Treethan is here. Treethan, you've been on the show before, yes?
Yep.
Welcome back. Remind everyone where you're calling from.
Jersey City, New Jersey.
Jersey City, New Jersey. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So my take is with Guilhoto leaving Immortals the way he did, I'm almost certain this current Immortals season is doomed, and they will be at the bottom standing wise.
Is it only you want to expand a little bit on it? Is it only because of Guilhoto, or is it because of the other players?
I legitimately think it's because he left. Because he left very close to before the season started, if my memory serves correctly. And I think it seemed like a sudden shift, right? Especially with how all the players were definitely like getting his teachings and stuff. Of course, they could, expand on what he's given that team further and roll with it. But I think he was so integral to Immortal success last season that I really do think it's going to be a huge, huge, huge death knell for their current season.
Well, we should say Immortals Progressive went 0-3.
Immortals Progressive of the Great Lakes region.
Yes, of the Great Lakes region. They went 0-3 this past weekend, which I think is really surprising. Actually, Mark, before we throw it over to Guilhoto, do you think Immortals 0-3 is the most surprising thing out of this first weekend of lock-in?
I'm relatively surprised at it, especially since they played two of their quote-unquote easier teams in Dig and CLG.
Yeah. They have Team Liquid left.
Yeah, and that's probably an L coming their way based off how things look right now, unless they get Team Liquid look over them and don't realize that they're a threat, and they're already looking to
I'm hyping up the PoE Bjergsen face-off. I did that. I have an interview with PoE where we talk about it. So
yeah. Either way, it's just like I was surprised to see them not look that good, and it was a concerning not that good of look. Like sometimes teams go zero. Like I don't know if Guilhoto watched any of the Vitality games. They went 0-3, but like they were still making plays. They did some dumb shit. They did some aggressive stuff. It was a more impressive 0-3 than the Immortals one, where I actually felt kind of depressed almost by the end of their weekend. What's that?
That they just like roll over and die.
Yeah, there's just not much proactivity. They were given the TF, and it was almost like an insult to like leave up TFK and be like, if you take TF, you're not going to do enough with it, and we don't care. Here, have it PoE. Kind of like that's how it felt to me, where they're like, yeah, we don't respect it enough. We'll take this trade. Either we just get TF and we think it's broken, or you get TF and we don't care. And that's how the game kind of ended up playing, where there was pretty much no influence by the TF in what is basically the strongest mid pick in the game right now, it seems, globally. So that was concerning.
They did look pretty mid, I will say.
To answer your question, Travis, I think that the C9 trio probably surprised me more than the IMT 03. When it comes to the question of the viewer or the take of the viewer, I obviously think that I had the impact on IMT, but I don't think that's why they went 0-3, and I don't think that just because they went 0-3 that means that they're going to be a like bottom team LCS just because of that. Like we did see Dignitas also being last lock-in, right? And then in Spring Split they were pretty high in the rankings. So I don't think that needs to be or that's kind of an exaggeration. But yeah, I mean they did kind of suck this weekend. Yeah.
What did you think of Revenge's play in particular this weekend?
He sucked too. Like I don't know. It's like NA team blind picks Graves, and he calls himself a good Irelia player, and then just defaults to Sign because, oh my god, I'm playing versus Impact. Like, what am I watching? I guess against him, I won't have to ban Irelia anymore. The guy just doesn't think he has the hands to play the champ anymore.
What he's in chat right now, and he just put a question mark, and then he says, "What is this slander?" So,
I mean, you see a bunch of physical damage on the enemy team. You see a TF, and you're like, "Wow, I can just stack armor." It looks like Sion's dream, right? Isn't that a big brain fifth pick?
But then your bot has to carry.
Yeah, and then you're in a tough mid match. Basically, I think they ended up with like 3 lanes getting pushed. Even just kind of got rolled after. It was a tough game. I was casting that one, I think.
So what do you think their potential is this split, Guilhoto? Because I know you're like, well, look at Dignitas. Like they were able to turn it around, and it's like, I don't know if anybody wants to be compared to Dignitas. No offense to Dignitas from last year, but it's not like they had like a stellar year. So I think there were a lot of people thinking,
happened, you know?
What's that?
But a similar situation happened. No one wants to be compared against Dignitas, and everyone was flaming Dignitas. The truth is that they still had a pretty good spring split, or even after a disastrous lock-in. So why wouldn't you want to be compared to Dignitas there? Just because it's the org Dignitas? I'm talking about
no,
the team.
because they were not considered a top 5
I'm just talking
team
about
last
like
year.
the team.
Like, yeah, I hear you on like they did better in spring, right? But like,
No, they did better than everyone expected. Like they like 4th or 5th place or something.
Well, part of the reason
they did better than EG.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I brought them up, or part of the reason I ask about how well they can do, is I think a lot of people, I feel like for a lot of people they were kind of like the dark horse, not necessarily people thinking that they were going to win, but in the sense of like, oh, they could sneak into the top 5 and maybe well into the top 5. Like a lot of people were like, hey, there's not a lot of fanfare going on to this Immortals roster, but I think a lot of people thought they could really surprise people or like do better than expectations. And so that's part of the reason I ask you is like, do you think that Immortals could be like a top contender in the league, and really, even if they don't have a ton of like flashy names on their roster like you or LS coaching or something like that, they maybe, I'm asking, do you think that they have that potential in them even after this rough start this weekend?
To be a defined contender
top five pushing sometimes into top 4, top 3.
I don't think they can reach top 3. I think that should be that push shouldn't exist, but I can see them get top 5. Yeah, even after this rough start. Yeah, I can see them getting top 5.
Yeah,
I think that. I mean, I have obviously really big faith on the 3 players that stayed that I coached last year. I think they're all very talented, and I think that especially PoE was an upgrade, and he had a fantastic last year. So I don't know. I think it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the other dark horse that we were talking about was FlyQuest, and they seemed. I guess irregular, that's a good way to say it. Losing to TSM Academy in like a weird fashion, but winning against 100 Thieves. To be honest, that was one of the biggest draft drifts that I've seen throughout the lock-in, but they still beat him.
Caller, it sounds like even Guilhoto, as much as you're trying to pump him up, he's not even willing to take your take that Immortals is going to flunk out. So do you have any follow-up to any of the stuff we talked about?
No, that's fine. I feel like, he doesn't want the old players to hate him or anything like that. Also, I do think they're all
shit
good.
if Revenge and Zerx and Destiny hate. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Right. I'm the first one after the 0-3 to go to Revenge and
I think my brain just disintegrated.
No Andre, no win. I'm the first one to go and tell him that I don't care. But I just genuinely think that this is a very Reddit hot take of like, what the fuck, 0-3. So, or let's put it another way. Holy shit, Immortals went 0-4 in lock-in and they were eliminated, so they must suck throughout the whole spring split. I just think that that's a very, exaggeration. Because now let's say, wow, what the fuck? TL lost to EG? There's no way they can win spring.
Well, to be fair, the caller, his other point was that you were gone. I feel like he was leaning more on the fact that you were leaving
it had nothing really to do with the lock-in. I legitimately think it's because that you left that they Immortals
for sure. And I agree with
Great
you.
Lakes will do worse.
Yeah, but I agreed with you. I have no problem also in agreeing with you on that.
I'm glad we're in agreement.
Yeah, I just don't think it's bottom of the LCS worse, as you said.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You know.
Okay, cool. Well, either way, Treethan, thanks so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
Mountain Dew Game Fuel.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
He's better at the shout out than I am. I do it for money.
Yeah, you still say the old branding.
I still say amp sometimes. Shit.
Yeah. All right. Off Mark goes to get our next caller. Thank you to Lit Drummer Boy for the 18 months. Flick Nickum for the 21 months. What'd you say?
So can someone ask Revenge to be a caller? You want to be a caller, Mo?
I don't
Come
know.
ask your question.
I don't know.
You don't have access to me now every day, so.
Breaking Dreams is here. Breaking Dreams. Where are you calling from?
Sydney, Australia.
Nice. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So I know it's a bit early, but my take is that it seems as though the Church of LS's ideology is already starting to come to fruition within the first week of lock-in, being that Fudge had the top 3 statistics for mythic item buy, as well as the resounding notion of analysts highlighting the draft or the winning drafts throughout the games.
Gotcha. Okay, so you already feel like the LS dream is coming to fruition.
I like how it's starting for sure, yes.
Okay. All right. Mark, why don't we kick you off? Because you actually did shout out to your Blame game last week, where it was about LS and nepotism. So what do you think? Did you see this weekend the church, the faith in the plays that C9 was making as they were going 3-0?
Let's say yes. One thing I'll say about the mythic item, and this is one of the reasons I pulled the call, is like right now, there's this one mid laner who's like the highest priority mid laner, one of the highest priority ones right after TF, that doesn't build a mythic item first. His name's Corky. And so anyone who plays Corky is going to get fucked in that stat. And guess who didn't play any Corky this weekend? Certain Mr. Fudge, who also played a Jace game, who's usually going to get his first mythic pretty quickly as well. So on the mythic point, I'm going to have to disagree a little bit. And then the other thing is that Max Waldo talked about in an interview how LS is kind of working with the team in Korea. It's like a really jacked up situation, it sounds like, where Berserker, him, Summit, Winsome, and Malice are all in Korea. And they're a team. And then Max Waldo's leading this team that you see competing. And so I think what we really learned was that LS should stay in Korea and just let Max Waldo run the team.
I mean, so Fudge told me, that basically there's only like a couple hours of overlap because whenever they're winding down with their day, Team LS wakes up and starts doing their stuff. And so, and apparently, maybe I'm spoiling my own interview. Watch the Fudge interview. It's really good. It should be up in the morning. We had an edit issue with it, so otherwise it would have been out right now. But LS is playing mid lane for the LS team in Korea. And they are talking a little bit, and like Fudge says that he watches some of their games sometimes. But that's what's going on over there. And then Max is just fully handling the stuff over here. So Guilhoto, in the last call you had mentioned that you were a little surprised by C9 going 3-0 this weekend. Do you think it's just the genius of now? Obviously, I don't know if we can say that Max is like a bishop of the church or whatever. I don't know how the church hierarchy and bureaucracy works out.
Well, there's the cardinals.
Yes. Mark knows this. He's got some.
My brother's a priest. He's somewhere in there.
So you could help us figure it out. But Guilhoto, were you impressed by anything that you saw this weekend? Do you feel like it was a coaching diff at all?
No. I thought that like when I said it was impressive, it's because like they're playing with their third AD carry, right? And they are doing particularly well with their
a guy who's not even in the academy.
Roster.
Yes.
Have you heard of it?
Not the academy AD carry. Like from what I understood, King is going to play academy, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. They're playing with a guy who's not even in academy.
Yeah, he's not even in academy, and like I don't know. I think that like Fudge was doing okay. To be fair, no offense or anything, but I did expect Darshan to do worse than he was doing. So that's why, like, I mean, I thought that they did well. I think that they
You
were
thought the
drafting
action
very
game was going to
similar
be worse?
from Darshan.
Yeah, that action game where he just fed his brains out.
What?
He played Akshan, and you thought he was going to be worse than that?
I mean, I thought that overall he would be worse than that. Don't take like one game. He managed to stay 0-0. Actually, that was something that I didn't really understand, that he was like emoting when he was 0-0-0 as Gragas, and he was just like emoting in front of the enemy team. That was kind of like, but I mean, I think that they are doing well. I don't think they are particularly outside of the Ziggs. I think that everything that they're drafting is like pretty normal. Some Lysins early on as well. Some Jarvan jungles. I don't know. Some BM, some signs that don't build redemption. I don't know. Like, it's pretty. I think it's like pretty standard. I just don't see like it's the same thing as the IMT take. I just don't see when it comes for. It's already implemented. Like, the church is settled. They are already playing to perfection to what LS wants. Like, I think, like, obviously his ideas will be implemented, no doubt about it, and we will see like when they work, when they don't. I think that it's, and I was vocal about this before as well, I think it's a great thing for the league that LS is taking on such a big org as Cloud9. But everything that happens in lock-in, it's so raw from every single team that having takes that apply to Spring Split is very, very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
playing a lot of subs.
I was gonna say, at least for Immortals, it's like, oh, it's their main roster. You can try and extrapolate a little more. Here, there's so much that's gonna change when the main team gets here. But on the church point, I think there are like maybe some fingerprints you could argue, maybe like a pretty decent focus on scaling. I mean, everyone's playing Victor Corki, so that's kind of whatever. But they had a little bit more preference for Sion, like a scaling tank. The Gragas game. Game 2 did not feel like an LS draft. I feel like he would be mad watching that draft and see the Sinners with so much physical damage on the top half of the map, and just winning lanes that are going to drop off. I don't know.
Is he streaming much, or is he not? I haven't been looking at Twitch much lately. Because I want to see, like, the perfect content would be LS reviewing their own games. But obviously he's not there. I feel like that would be very, very fun. He said he's too busy. Damn. I think it would be super fun to see him just review the old games and see how much like he whenever he normally reviews a game, it would be like, I don't know. I feel like that'd be fun content. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really cool. Again, to Guilhoto's point, it's like it's lock in. Everybody's running weird shit. They're playing teams that are not even running any players from their roster. Like, it's just the way that it is right now. But I think it is pretty impressive to see what they do. And for me, it's more demonstration that Cloud9 has always had a very deep roster, and they've always had great players behind their main LCS players that they can pull from. And sometimes those are a third string ADC that can really show up for them. But it's impressive to see how well they did.
I mean, memes aside about that, like, their roster is still probably better on paper even than most of the teams they played. Like, Sven's a beast. Blabber is still a really good jungler. Fudge mid is a bit of a who knows how it's going to be, but
he's doing well. That was gonna say, is that Fudge mid is actually the main thing that you can take from Cloud9, is that he's doing okay. He's not being like the best mid in the tournament, but he's up there.
Yeah, the fact that he's doing well. Darshan's been around the top of Academy for a while. So, like, the fact that this team is beating TSM Academy with like a bunch of really young players, or beating Golden Guardians Academy, is like not that much of a shock. So I will say, if people are getting really excited, temper it a little bit. Like they're still going to play 100 Thieves next, and then in knockout stage when they play against EG and TL, some of the other teams that have their actual lineups closer to ready, those are better heat checks, I guess.
Yeah. Well, by the way, thank you so much, Breaking Dreams, for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we take a quick break?
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Alienware and Mountain Dew Game Fuel. Thank you so much.
No, just Alienware.
Thank you so much, Breaking Dreams, for the call, and we'll catch you next time. Okay, we're taking a quick break. We're taking a break.
We are?
Yes.
There were no breaks before.
I told Mark we were going to take a break.
Alright.
And then he left the channel. Mark,
Be right.
taking a break.
Wait, then I guess we're not taking a break as he's bringing another caller.
We're talking about Alienware right now. Alienware is awesome. We're using the new Aurora R13.
Wait, is that the break?
I did say we're taking a break.
Whoops.
When we get back from this break, we'll have a special caller here.
Don't be lazy.
I want to talk about
7:45.
I want to talk about the cool Aurora R13 that I have right now that I'm streaming this off of. I just switched over to it, and this thing is awesome. It's a little bigger than the previous Aurora, so make sure you take a look at that. But it's awesome because you can now, they have this beautiful glass window that they've put into the side of it. It's optional, so if you want that type of thing. And this thing just lights up and is fantastic. I'm taking a look at it right now. It's behind my monitor. But they've announced all sorts of really cool stuff recently at CES, but some of that product is still coming in the upcoming weeks and months. But the Aurora R13 and R14 you can get right now at alienware.com/Travis. There's a link in the description below. And then after we do 1 or 2 more calls, Guilhoto, you can take your break that you're asking for right now. So thank you so much to Alienware for sponsoring the show. We love them so much. Sorry, Alienware, that this was a little scuffed. We're still getting into the swing of things in the new year. But please go check out Alienware. We love them. And again, there's a link in the video description if you're watching on YouTube. And I'll go ahead and put that in chat right now as well so that you guys can check them out if you're watching live. Thank you so much to Alienware. All right, our next caller is here. Mark is grabbing him, and he's ready. It's a highly anticipated caller. 80-minute now.
Here we go.
Revenge is here. Revenge, where are you calling from?
From the bottom of Group B.
I'm calling from the trenches of Group B in Lock-in. Yeah, it's really nice. It's cozy down here, honestly. Like I mean, I think I'm getting used to it. It's feeling good.
Nice. Okay, very good. Well, hopefully you don't have to get used to it for too long. You've got an exciting match ahead of you this weekend. What did you have a take or anything in particular, or a question for the group tonight?
Thank you, man. I've been dying to be in a call again with Guilhoto, the mastermind himself of Team Liquid now. From IMT to Team Liquid. Wow.
True.
I have a banger question for you, okay?
Okay, go for it.
One, I have two questions. Okay,
Wait.
One. What went through your mind when you saw the Hullbreaker on your side in a game versus EG? What was said? What was said behind the closed doors? That's my first question.
Breaker is actually not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about when the redemption was completed? What was?
Pushing it. Okay. Now they're pushing.
No way. What about when the redemption was completed? What was said? I need to know.
So, I mean, what do you mean you need to know? It was like, why is he building redemption? That was it.
I in particular just really liked his redemption usage on that last team fight when Jojo Pune packaged in and he waited for his whole team to die and then tried to drop it on himself. I thought that was some expert usage.
Yeah.
Were these the two questions, Revenge, or did you have a
No.
one?
I had another one. I have a serious one.
Okay.
How has it been
to destroy the Nexus? You kind of need to learn that, actually.
No.
Shit.
All right. No. You know what? Honestly, it's fine. We haven't versed TL yet. He can talk all the shit he wants, but it'll just make it feel better when we shit on them. Like, that's all. Either way, like, I honestly, the funniest thing, I don't even care. All our losses do not matter, but beating TL will be the juiciest thing. Like, That's the only thing that matters right now.
When you play against us, you can already play without pressure, right? Because like first week you're already out of lock-in.
Oh, I mean, dude, it's true. It's true. There's no pressure.
Just
no
like
pressure.
just do your best, you know.
There's no pressure. There's no pressure now. I already know we're gonna go into ban phase and there's gonna be 3 top bans. I already know. I mean, I'm not even.
Why would you guys ban 3 top laners?
We would ban 3 top laners.
Wait, you're saying I would
mean-
ban 3 top
Yeah,
laners?
I mean, maybe I
Whippo.
should. Yeah, you need to protect Bippo.
Why?
What?
Why would I
That's-
need to protect Boobo? You saw what Bob Jenkins did to you?
What Bob Jenkins did to me? Really? The Manamine Essence Reaver GP.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. I mean, Andre, I'm a bit disappointed, man. I thought going to TL, your analysis and coaching would improve, but I mean.
Yes, it would improve too, but.
Oh, okay.
How
No,
can you, how
yes,
can you do this? How can you keep talking shit when you're literally losing to CLG and Dignitas?
Listen, okay.
XU
Wait,
beat you.
what? Dude, XU is the future. What do you mean? What are you trying to say?
Oh, so you're already the past after 1 year in
No,
LCS?
Biofrost Lux, and Neo Caitlyn were really good that game too. I mean, they're honestly, and Fake Gods Malphite played a really strong lane phase and game as well. So
are you
I mean,
saying? So let me see.
I'm
So you
praising- I'm
beat
praising
every top laner that you played against, but your team just lost the game. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a team game, Andre.
Oh.
I would never. It's a team game, okay? Listen,
yeah.
it's a team game. Honestly,
Okay, just wanted to be
Oh,
sure.
You know what? Like, I've already gone through all the stages of Copium for this lock-in. You know, like I'm already prepared for Spring Split. Like, you know, lock-in doesn't matter. You know, I've already gone through it. Like, nothing can damage me anymore. You know?
It wasn't there an
Nothing can
interview
damage me.
from you saying that your goal was to win lock-in?
Wait, was there? I don't remember. Honestly, you know, it's in the past.
You after
It's in the past. It's in the past. It's in the past. But
What was your main
Um,
question, Revenge?
okay. I do have a serious question. How has it been like practicing with like 280 carries and 2 supports? I'm actually curious. Like, how has that been?
Actually,
And-
great question.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, it's definitely been more challenging than playing with only one bot lane, but it is what it is. It's like trying to get the best out of an unfortunate situation. I think that I'm lucky enough to have 4 players willing to put a lot of extra work out of scrims. So obviously they are not playing every scrim, and at the start was kind of like a bit easier to split time because Jan was playing at the start because Hans was not here, and when once Hans was here, then he just basically played the remainder while supports were changing a bit. But it's definitely like you take a bit of time from both, which means that it delays a bit the development that you can have as 5. But at the same time, they are putting a lot of extra work to compensate that. So it's been not the ideal situation, but nonetheless a situation that is manageable for sure.
And then one more question to follow it all up. Who has been
almost
triggering you?
official.
Who has been triggering you the most in review?
Who's the revenge of your new team?
Who's triggering you the most, Andre? Lay it on us. Who's the hardest to deal with when your Nexus explodes in scrims and you know you had a tough game?
So rare.
The whip comes
That has
out.
been so rare.
The whip comes out. Who triggers you?
There's
Rare.
There's
Don't lie. That's not rare. Don't lie.
I'm serious.
Don't lie.
I'm serious. Well, it's rare that our Nexus explodes.
Right. Okay.
Our Nexus explode like in scrims, like maybe a bit more than you in official games. Kind of like similar, but maybe a bit more. But I don't know. Like there's not very triggerable moments yet.
I don't believe you.
I think it's mostly because it's online. Like I think that what usually, because like we are not at the office, you know, we are all playing from home. So I think that when it's like face to face, I get more revenge treatment than online.
But that's weird.
I will let you.
Wait, that's weird. That's weird. I triggered you and it was online. What?
Oh yeah, but you were 0-10 every game.
But,
You were 0-10 like the first 3 games.
no.
Like, holy
No.
fuck.
No, that's not even true. That's not even true. That's not even true. Don't even say that to the chat. Chill. Listen. You would get mad sometimes just to be mad. I swear to God. Especially when it went back online in Summer Split, you were actually mad just to be mad.
Let me answer then. Let me answer to you, Mo. Like, and now it's actually not no joke, like a serious note.
Okay. Oh shit. Okay.
It was your first experience being coached. It was your first experience to even play like with the expectation of playing LCS, right? Like you were preparing yourself for your first split of LCS, right?
Mhm.
You will need a lot more help or whipping or criticism than any of my 5 players needs currently, you know? The mindset and the experience and the maturity, and when I say maturity, is not necessarily like you're not a mature person, is more, it's like a mature person for the competition. It's way ahead of yours, just purely because of experience. And in that case, obviously the triggering part will be way less, and the way that I have to deal with players is also different, you know? Like you needed that. You still need that.
Hey,
You
whoa.
still need something like that. But the player, no, I'm serious. It's like it's your second year. I'm saying like you need it due to the fact that it's your second year. You're still young in the league. You know, you still have like a long way to go. Like when it comes to Bwipo or Bjergsen, like these players play forever, you know? So they obviously need less of what you needed, and they need something else. So then there's less triggering. Because you do shit very, very dumb. Like the shit that you do that triggered me is like literally from a guy that is playing solo queue.
But
True. That's true. No, that's true.
Guilhoto, I heard someone was speculating that it would actually be harder to work with Team Liquid because there's so many personalities on the team. I heard some speculation that it would just be so many opinions going around, you wouldn't be able to wrangle them all.
There are a lot of opinions going around, but that doesn't mean that like the opinions are wrong that are triggering. I think that there are multiple ways to play the game, and my job is mostly make sure that we are on the same page. And sometimes it becomes rough because everyone had a lot of success in the team that they played previously. But that's everyone also has like the mindset that the most important thing that we have to fix right now is to get on the same page. And when everyone has that mindset, then we are able to set up some rules or guidelines that we want to follow in order for everyone to be on the same page. Even if not everyone agrees, I see that the players still try to apply the conclusions that were said.
Just for context, Mark is memeing me because this was my take last year. I was like,
your takes are always. I'm not gonna say it actually. Mo, you pumped me up.
Always
this
accurate.
is gonna be a show now that I have to be careful with what I'm saying.
Yeah, please don't kill the show because I know you've done that in the past.
Yes.
No. Okay, I will. I'm coming to you from a place of ignorance. Please feel free to enlighten me. Because my thing was, I had seen how you, Guilhoto, had been with Revenge and had been with the Immortals players, and I felt like in that role as a coach, you were very strong, right? Like you come in, with strong opinions, you're here to like kind of whip people into shape, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas I looked at the Team Liquid roster this year, I was not suggesting that you should not have coached it or anything like that, but it was more like out of interest because I looked at this year's Team Liquid roster kind of the way that I looked at that old G2 roster where Grabs worked more as like a facilitator of all the different personalities. It actually made me think about the live Hotline League that we did with Rift Rivals where it was like me and Mark and you and Grabs and Peter, I think, where we were all talking about the coaching differences between North America and Europe. And I was like, I don't know if Guilhoto, like I don't know if you even like being more of a facilitator in conversation as a coach than you do like kind of coming in and yelling at Revenge, who's still in the call, by the way. And happy to have you here, Revenge. You can shed any light on this
I have
stuff,
a follow up for Revenge after this.
So
we're gonna keep this call going.
Well,
So-
wait. I'll say one thing about what Travis said, but I feel like Andre can just will and probably is just adapting to the environment he's in. I mean, he kind of explained it, right? Like
facilitator.
I mean, well, yeah, like I mean, like last year he had to take more roles on to work with more of us because, like, for example, like I was a rookie, but like you said, no one on Team Liquid's a rookie, and I feel like he's experienced enough to know how to like fill in whatever role he needs. And to be honest, that's why I was like, I mean, I know that Andre is going to be a good fit for TL. I know it's still early, but like, it's just like at the end of the day, he still has like really good game knowledge, and I think that even so, the players all have a lot of experience and have a lot of opinions. Players do sometimes at the end of the day need to just be given like the final word and the final say on what's right, and that helps a lot to like actually progress the team. So
I think it does. I'm just curious, like Guilhoto, are you ever worried about with this lineup of players? I mean, I guess you'll probably say no, but like my worry for you is like you can go to Revenge and be like, dude, you can't play that fucking champion that way, or you can, you have to play the game this way. I don't know if that's as easy or if it's as possible with some of these players who have been champions in the league or even on the world stage. So I don't know. Feel free to fill me in without.
It's okay. So, Mo, don't be angry by this.
Whoa, wait, relax. Hold on, wait.
Okay.
Think about it for a second. Think about it. Don't roast me, man.
I just
said. Go on.
No, say it, Mo.
No. You know what? Fine. I was just nice to you, and now I'm about to get roasted. Like, what is that? I'm about to just catch a stray bullet.
You're not about to get
I'm about to catch a stray bullet right now. That's how I'm feeling.
You can dodge it. You're too small for me to be able to hit you.
Okay.
My aim is too bad. I need
Maybe
I'll
just deafen for this. I saw how you played in. What's it called?
I think that to answer your question, all the players that I have are very willing to hear criticism, and the criticism that I would give to Revenge, I still give to the players. They are just, no offense, Mo, much faster to recognize than Revenge was. Because it's something that they have like true experience. Once again, it's much easier for them to recognize that something was just like wrong or there was a misplay. Sometimes I don't even have to say it. They are just like entering the review saying that I fucked up lane, or like in this case I should have done X or Y. In the case of Mo, because of Mo, and when I say Mo, it's like most of the IMT lineup of last year, due to the lack of experience, then it's like you're going through that whole coaching and understanding process. So I would have to explain much more detail to Mo why something was wrong and what would be the right way to do it, purely because it was something that he was never really introduced to and never experienced it due to the lack of experience. It's literally just that. It's just that. But like if I go to Soren and I tell him that he should not do this, he should do that, he will look at it, and most of the times, like he's very, very self-critical, as so are the rest of the players. Like it's not like, I think that there's this misconception where people think that just because you're a veteran, you will always think you're right. But there is, like, at least maybe I was just lucky, but these 5 guys are very, very self-critical with how they play the game. So, and that's what makes them great and be able to be on the top for so long.
I guess I'm just very curious
if you ever want to reach the top, Mo, you need to be self-critical.
I guess I'm just very curious about what happens if this ever occurs, where you have Whippo and Soren and you all disagreeing on a topic, right? Like about a draft that occurred, or
it's happened already, and it's going to keep happening. And that's like those type of discussions, as long as they are dealt with respect from each other, and then we also use the things that we agreed before as baselines, then the conclusion will always be productive.
Yeah. That's good.
The follow-up I was going to have was about actually Hullbreaker Scion, since we have Revenge on.
Mm-hmm. You should try it, Mo.
No, I don't think I was kind of miming. Like, I don't actually think it's that bad, but I think it kind of does depend on the situation of the game. Like he actually solo killed Gnar, so going damage is actually like pretty smart because he can actually like take over the lane more.
But he needed to base.
We're getting
I
a
mean,
little
but then he
echo,
got.
by the
I
way.
mean, then he got solo killed again. So like you know, he kind of griefed. But if you want like a more stable game, like if this was like if this was like World Finals or something, you would just go tank and like play your role. You know, like you're if you're gonna go Hullbreaker, you're definitely taking way more risk in terms of like what you're bringing to your team and like what your role in the game is. You know, like his role in the game is not to be a sideliner that game. You know, from what I recall, like it's just it didn't really make much sense in that regard. You know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna raise about it. Was I feel like it makes plenty of sense in solo queue to me, but in like a pro game where I mean you have Trundle, so he can do some of the frontlining responsibilities, but like realistically, you're gonna be wanting like after you get the push to like help dip into the fog of war, put some pressure on the enemy team, threaten and engage, get vision control. That like Hullbreaker, once you lose the passive on it, it's actually pretty shit. It's basically just 50 attack and 400 health without the bonus armor and MR on it. And then it just doesn't do anything more than like if you had just gone Titanic Hydra for a damage item. Like if you start snowballing the game, I understand wanting to build damage on that point. And Hullbreaker is a better like self-sufficient laning item because of all the like the insane efficiency on it. But then it becomes totally worthless if you ever group, and it's a team game, so you're gonna group. And at that point, if you just had the extra bonus scaling attack on a Scion who gets an insane like HP ratio, I just assume that Titanic is the better buy in a pro game.
It is, but I just think like what he was doing with the Hullbreaker in that game was actually pretty good. Like the amount of plates he was taking was insane actually because of it. Like he was actually able to pressure turrets like way more than he would have if he went Titanic, which was, you know, pretty like good for the game overall. But like I said, like and like you said, it scales really poorly in team fights and just in general later on. So I think Titanic for scaling in general is better, as well as if you do go full tank. But I mean, he probably knew that. He was probably having some fun because he thought the game was going to be way more free. But yeah, I mean,
it was pretty cool watching him half health bot inhibitor turret by himself. But then because the demolish proc scales, I didn't realize that at first that demolish proc gets buffed by it.
Yeah, it just one shots it. It's disgusting.
Well,
he can take towers pretty fast. It was just like I just think that Hullbreaker would be fine for that game, but then there were a lot of unfortunate events that made that his champion then was just, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was necessarily because of the buy and like.
Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't. I mean, honestly, like yeah, not to flame or anything, but like I feel like if he did play better in a lot of situations, like Andre said, the Hullbreaker would not have really mattered. Like, so
No, the Hullbreaker would have actually been better in those cases.
Well, I mean, like it wouldn't have mattered in the sense like it wouldn't have lost. It's not what lost you guys the game, you know. That's what I mean.
Hey, I was gonna wrap the call, but really quickly, just because she has asked me, and I have to do a show with her tomorrow, so she won't scream at me. She yells a lot at me behind the scenes. Emily's in the chat, and she said, "Ask Revenge about the Whippo Graves build while he's here." So, what do you think of the?
Oh yeah,
Graves.
You know what? Fun fact, I'm literally in this call right now playing a solo queue game of Graves, just so you know. Anyway,
how's it going?
While we're talking, it's going good. It's I'm actually against solo, old FlyQuest top laner, and it's
Oh wow,
it's a banger. It's actually a banger. It's actually a banger. Anyway.
Revenge.
No, yeah. Anyway.
Oh, you're gonna give us the
E's?
how's it going? How's it
No,
going?
I'm on my main account. Anyway.
How many E's?
I'm not on that account.
No, but I want to see that account because I saw you spamming Graves on this account. I wanted to see how you were doing.
It was
How many E's, man?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I just copy pasted it. Anyway,
and I can see on the leaderboards.
Yeah, the Graves build.
To answer the question about the lethality build, I think it was pretty smart, and given like I think the build also depends on like your base timers and how much gold you have. So like if he did have Dirk on his first base, it's actually pretty good, which he did. And I think that, however, I do think that scaling with the other build is generally the safer option, and like most of the time the better option. But I don't know. I think he played really well, so the build didn't really like. I don't want to say matter as much, but like it kind of did the job either way. Like I feel like his gameplay kind of like set himself up for success more that game than the build. Like
I think that
I should.
Mo in so much on trades that he needs to get lifesteal early on.
yeah.
I'm
I mean, I was actually talking to me and Impact spoke a lot about it because we were like, holy, like he's actually going lethality Graves, and we always talk about whether we think lethality or crit is better on this champ, and we actually thought that game was like probably a better game to go crit, but he's still made the lethality work. So props to him.
This conversation as a whole is just perfect for one of the things I talked about Blame Game, and about how much like community people tunnel onto criticizing build paths because it's like probably that in draft like the easiest things to backseat game, and like the optimizations are rarely why you win or lose the game, and like it's more often gameplay and like decision making and how your team's playing, and like unless it's a super close game, like getting 5 or 10% less damage out is like less important than being in the right spot or something. And this is just music to my ears.
I mean, there were like for example, like there were games last year where I think like our AD carry was playing Ziggs and they had like Diana or something, and like he didn't build Zanyas for like the entire game. I don't know if you remember that game, Andre. It was like against C9.
Yeah, I remember.
Like things like that really matter. Where it's like, wait, why does our AD carry not have a Zanyas against like Ziggs or like against like Nautilus Diana? Like we would actually win so many more team fights, and this is like Giga Troll. But like, I do think with like the really small things like this, like I think this really has almost no impact on like the actual outcome of the game, as long as he's doing his job, like, and not doing anything completely like the build isn't like fundamentally changing the strength of the champion that much, right? Like he's still winning side against Gwen, he's still doing the same thing he would do in team fights. Like I don't know, it didn't really change much to me, but like it's kind of like a niche thing. It does kind of change your playstyle a tiny bit. Like you need to be more burst oriented, which he was doing in team fights. Like he was kind of like looking for these like burst angles where he was just dropping his Q ulti and like
one shot.
Yeah, he did. Like he was actually doing like good things like that in team fights, which you need to do with the lethality build. That, for example, if he was in like a team fight situation that required him to be fighting for longer, like the crit build would obviously be like significantly better, you know. But
Hey,
yeah.
Thanks so much, Revenge, for calling in. I'm looking forward to seeing you two face off. Is there anything you want to shout out before we say goodbye and take a quick break?
Yeah, you know what? Shout out to Immortals Progressive, our new sponsor.
Don't even know your team name.
The Great Lakes region represent. Yeah. Yeah.
What's
Other
your
than that,
stream?
My stream, just Twitch TV Revenge. I might be streaming in these. Actually, tomorrow I have an off day, so I might actually stream. So
Very good.
if you guys want to tune into that, should be fun.
Well,
Andre can study me and learn what to ban for the game. So just putting that out there.
No team has banned top laners, and they seem to be doing just fine against you guys.
Thanks so much, Revenge, for popping on. This was really fun.
All right, yeah, it was fun. Thanks for having me.
See you, dude.
Peace.
Guilhoto, if you want to take
I
your break
love
now,
Mo.
you can take your break.
Yeah,
Mark and I are
And
going to do a
Harry,
quick
like-
little announcement.
I'll miss Mo.
Yeah.
Mo is a nice guy. Hey, right back.
Okay. All right, everybody. We have an announcement to make right now. So, been working on this for over 6 months now. But Mark and I are really excited to share that we are now sponsored by Grubhub. Ta-da! We're Grubhub gamers. Let me go ahead and put up the logo so we can talk about this. So, what does this mean exactly? So, they are coming in as where's the thing? There's this. I just need to pop this off really quickly. There we go. So Grubhub is coming in for the full year. They are sponsoring Hotline League. They obviously, you already know, a lot of folks might know that they do a bunch of stuff in the space, including sponsoring LCS. We actually did some work with them last year, or I did. That work went really well, and you guys all supported the stuff I did. You might remember me from the commercial that had Avali and Peter and some other familiar faces in it. And so, yeah, we've been talking ever since, and we were able to make this happen. So they're going to be sponsoring Hotline League. They're going to be sponsoring LCS content. And then the other thing is, For those that remember the long form interview that I did with Peter, where we were eating a certain meal, and you like that content, that type of content, long form interviews, you'll be excited by a show that we are going to be doing with Grubhub, or that I'm going to be doing with Grubhub, talking to different folks in the space. So not too much I can share on that yet because we're still working on it a little bit, but it's going to be pretty fun. If you are not familiar with Grubhub, first off, where you been? !Grubhub in the Twitch chat, by the way. I put that command in there earlier and nobody noticed it. And I also, I was worried because there's an interview that went up today on the channel where there's a Grubhub logo, and thankfully folks did not start to put two and two together. But it's basically, it is a great way to get food delivered on time and at the lowest price, guaranteed, or they'll make it right through the Grubhub guarantee. I know I've watched a bunch of Peter's Go streams in the past year, so I'm very familiar with the Grubhub guarantee. But it's really cool to be working with them, and so you guys can take a look at their stuff. There's a link in the YouTube description if you would like to click through. That's very helpful. We're working on getting a code in the future, and we'll have one in the coming weeks so that you guys can use that. But in the meantime, if you just click through onto the link, it's pretty good. Are you okay, Mark? Oh, he was just talking to Ashley. But so that will come in the future. But it's been really, really cool to work with those guys. In fact, they're one of the things that's really neat about them is that several of the folks that work on the whole Grubhub side, they hang out in the Twitch chat. And if some of you guys might recall,
you froze like 30 seconds ago, but
okay.
But I can hear you now again on Discord.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Yeah, we had like a little blip. It looks like we should be back. This is the worst timing for this to happen.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it. I'm looking to see. There's a few drop frames, but they're still going. They're still going.
Welcome back. I don't have it back yet.
You don't have me back?
No. The stream dropped.
Oh, there we go. We're back.
We're back.
That was really weird. So it's funny because Discord.
Grubhub is so amazing that the internet freaked out for a second.
It's really funny because I wonder if there was just a small Twitch blip or something like that, because I did not lose Skype or Discord at all. It was just this. Sorry, Grubhub. Listen, everyone. If you want to help, go click the link in the YouTube description or in the chat that pops up. That would be super helpful, because obviously it sucks whenever suddenly we have a blip on the show while we're trying to shout out our new sponsor. But there's going to be cool stuff coming in, and I'm excited about it. And what's really cool about I think I said this, you guys might have missed it, but the folks who work on the Grubhub side have actually been hanging out in Twitch chat for the past year. They've been watching this stuff for a very long time. So it's been really cool to... In fact, I can click on one of them right now and see they've been following since 2018. So it's always really cool to work with folks who are familiar with the content and trust us to do what's up. So again, thank you to Grubhub. Really appreciate it. Please do !Grubhub in the chat whenever you want, and keep an eye out for that link in the future. I'm going to fix my sponsor logo now so that they're all added into the rotation. But we're ready to go on to the next caller. I hope you're ready and refreshed, Guilhoto.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Congrats.
Thank you. Sorry is great. Mark is off grabbing the next caller while I am trying to update my sponsor rotation to include them in it. And in a second, we should be good. Thanks to everybody who's been subbing, by the way. It was a really cool night. I think we had such a great call right before this, and then we got to go straight into the announcement, so it's been fun. NoGameSense is here. You've been on the show before, yes?
Yeah, I was just on last week.
Last week, that's right.
Oh, shit.
Were you as quiet as you are now? I might have complained about your volume.
Yeah, I can try to make it a little bit louder.
Yeah, a little bit louder would be good. I've got you at 200%, so if we can get you a little closer to the mic. Remind me where you're calling from. Remind us where you're calling from.
Oh, yeah, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Cincinnati, Ohio. That's right. We love Ohio callers. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to dive in a little bit to the bot lane meta, because I felt like with lock-in, I don't know if I was the only one, but I was looking throughout the drafts, and I felt like every team that had Jinx just would win. And I looked it up, and every team that had Jinx won besides 2 games, which was TSM versus FlyQuest, Fiesta, and then the Golden Guardians versus 100 Thieves. Or no, was that? Yeah. Golden Guardians versus 100 Thieves. Other than that, Jinx won every game, and I feel like just like other than CLG picking Kog'Maw, nobody's trying to counter this champ, and everybody's just okay with losing to it. And I just thought like there could be more creativity or intuition put into the thought process like behind picking champs in bot lane. Like I know Aphelios and Jhin are like they're decent, but none of them will beat Jinx outright, I think, in lane. And I would love to hear like more of your guys' thoughts on to why people aren't picking different things and are just okay with losing to this champ.
I am so curious about what Guilhoto will say as a coach of a team. Give us your bot lane priority so all the teams can take notes. Does it change with Han Sama versus Yan? How does this work?
I don't know if it necessarily changes. There are some picks that there can be a bit different. Overall, I honestly think that Jinx is just a very strong champion. You can't just outright or like the things that kind of like outright beat her. For example, sometimes actually I can't say, but it's not the easiest thing to build a comp like that, especially at the start of the split, where a lot of the times what it's gonna need is quite a bit of coordination within the team that is just not there yet. But if you look at other regions, Aphelios is actually having an advantage on that matchup, kind of like a significant one, I believe. It's just that the way it's not necessarily about the bot matchups itself, is the way that teams are playing and the way that teams are drafting, including us, becomes very easy for Jinx to scale up to a point where it's very hard to control. So I just think that it's honestly a very strong champion, and I don't necessarily think it's that easy as I believe you're suggesting, to just counter Jinx, and if a team picks Jinx, you just beat her if you pick X or Y.
I think the thing that interests me is what kind of counter picks people want to try. The Aphelios beating Jinx has not worked out in NA. I don't know if that's just like a skill problem or the supports that they're pairing it with, but it's definitely been an issue. I see what you're saying. I think a little bit about some of the ways to counter her, depending on if you're trying to punish her lack of mobility, or like the Kog'Maw counter pick from CLG was one that intrigued me, because that was a counter pick we used to run like way back in the day all the time with Piglet when he played into Jinx, and it usually did very well, but it was not looking that good when paired with a bunch of diving champions. So I guess to your point about some of the draft related things, it's a bit of an issue. So I guess my question is, what would you say, like from other things you have seen, is it just like other teams need to start doing stuff differently? Did you like the Kog'Maw idea? Even if, like, I'm not saying, Yun's going to play it or Ansama's about to bust out Kog'Maw. Is that closer in line with something you'd want to see, or is that still just too sketch picking Kog'Maw right now?
You want me to say what we are going to pick against Jinx next week if someone picks Jinx?
No. I'm not saying tell me your strategy. I'm saying, like, you saw the CLG one, for example. Like, I don't know if you watched that game.
I don't think Kog'Maw is the best answer that teams can have. I think there are better ones.
Okay. Zig's priority was pretty low. Do you feel like people should be doing more? That was one of the things the caller threw out. It is somewhat up there, like outside of Jhin, Varus, Ezreal, Aphelios, Ziggs is another one that people are playing. People are fast throwing out Callista, Draven. I don't know if any of those are what you want to.
People are just saying Callista and Draven because of Hans, I believe.
The Hans specials. I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, Travis, welcome back.
Hello.
But I mean, I do think Ziggs is being underplayed in NA, yeah. For sure.
Okay. We're good, Travis.
Thank you. I had to step away for a quick second. NoGameSense, thank you so much for the call. I know we're kind of speeding through some because we had one caller who just greedily kept going on for a while. Is there anything you want to shout out before?
I know I didn't give you the best answer, but it's like I also need to make sure that some secrets remain secret.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
No, you're good. You're good. Is there anything you want to shout out, NoGameSense?
No, nothing to shout out. Appreciate you guys having me on the show again.
Very good. Well, thank you so much again for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Yep.
All right. On to the next caller. Thank you to, where are we? We got a bunch of stuff. Folks who subbed. Flick Nickum for 21 months. Quiet Pirate. Evio Jika, I think is how you say it. Never Forget. Danny Grimm. Ian V gifted a sub to Emily. So many things. Adam. And Purple Ray Q. Thanks for the subs, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
AntiPhoenixNA, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Delray Beach, Florida.
Nice, Florida. What do you want to talk about on the show?
I want to talk about 100 Thieves. My take is I think they won't win either split, spring or summer, and won't go to Worlds this year because I think they didn't make improvements to their roster after winning summer, but I don't think the World's performance was very good, and I think they definitely could have picked up upgrades in the offseason. And I just don't really like the way they play the game, especially when it comes to mid and late. I think they get advantages often through their laning, especially mid bot, and then it's kind of just up to closer or someone to have an on game, or they just kind of sit around. They don't do Varens very well. And they just kind of wait for a fight to come into their hands where they win. And I think the league got way stronger. Specifically EG and TL, I think are good. And I think it's hard for them to win.
So you think they wouldn't? Who do you think would clinch the third place then?
I think C9 will clinch it by summer. Don't know if they'll be able to do it for spring. So I could see 100 Thieves being in the finals for spring, but I don't think they'll like it. But I don't think they're a bad team.
Who do you think would be the third team to go to Worlds? If you
C9,
think
C9.
Okay.
Who you mentioned wanting or you said you think that there was like an upgrade they could have made in the offseason. Was there a specific role or player that you felt like they should have?
I think you could look at Vulcan. I think you could also look at upgrading mid lane Niski from EU.
Is an upgrade to Abadage?
I think so. I think Niski had an insane year last year.
Is Vulcan that big of an upgrade over Huhi?
I think
individually there's an argument for that, yeah, but I do think that the history that Huhi and FBI have maybe does play a role in that, but I do think that individually Vulcan is an upgrade, yeah. Towards
I mean, I am not contesting that Vulcan has been the better player recently. I'm just saying, but I don't think that it's a giant leap.
He has been a better player. It's not recently. Vulcan has been a better player than Huhi. I think that's not necessarily a hot take.
I mean, yes, career-wise, yes. I was just mentioning in recent
even last year when Huhi won, to be fair.
All right. So, is 100T doomed? I think Guilhoto got last time, so we'll start with Mark.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think they're doomed, to use some of Andre's logic from earlier in the show about lock-in being not necessarily the end-all be-all of the season. But I think the loss in that game against FlyQuest showed a lot of the tendencies that I did not like about them in the past. And I don't think it's something that's actually much of a problem in like a long-term situation. But sometimes it feels like they just take games too easy. That they think that they're just going to win and they don't make a ton of proactive plays. Everyone sits in their lane. They farm. Closer farms his jungle on cooldown and like grabs some dragons off bot timings and stuff. And they don't do anything. And that's how that game felt to me. They had 2 counter picks in their solo lanes and Closer's Viego. I was surprised at how chill they took the top half of the map. They lost the Rift Herald on some reset timers and showing on Dragon. Like, it just was not a very thought out game. And I think that they had that problem sometimes it was actually more in spring, I would say, but they just sometimes don't go in there with much of an early game plan, it feels like, and they kind of just let the game come to them and they fall behind. You can see that passiveness a little bit in that SKT game at Worlds, where like they just gave them too much respect and were afraid to pull the trigger. So I think that is one area that there might be some legitimate criticism to 100 Thieves for me about. They sometimes seem to just not be in the game mentally, in terms of like, we need to do this next, we need to do that next. Let's have an active game plan constantly going on. But I don't know if that's enough to say they're doomed for the season. When so many other teams have other bigger issues. I don't really see a skill issue with this team. I think that they're still a pretty stacked roster, top to bottom, and I'm pretty confident that they're still fine for Worlds.
I mean,
I would agree.
Good.
No, I would agree. I think that like obviously right now is a time for everyone overstating because the sample size is so small, and they dropped the game to FlyQuest. I do think that was a very big draft diff. But I think that they will be fine. Like I think EG is stronger, TL is stronger, C9 is stronger, I think. TSM, let's see. I don't know. But I think that they are in the contention for Worlds for sure. I don't think that they will necessarily, or that this 3 games means that they are the ones that they are out. So I don't know. I think it's just, and so much thing can happen to summer. Like until summer, a lot of drama is going to happen on a lot of teams that can put some teams up or down. I honestly think 100 Thieves benefited from that last year. Not that they are a bad team, but they are a good team, and I think they deserve to be champions. But they did benefit from it. So who knows what's going to happen in spring? Who knows what's going to happen in summer? 100 Thieves also shown to be an org that is more than comfortable with making changes from spring to summer, and those changes having a big impact. I think that the addition of Mithy is a pretty big deal. I want to see more from Tenacity, and I want to see if he can actually step up in summer. I'm not expecting much from him in spring, but I am expecting something from him in summer. So there's so much league until Worlds. Like literally Worlds just ended almost last Worlds. Like until the next one, there's still so much for us to be saying that 100 Thieves will not be a team that will make it to Worlds, and that they are that they will be struggling.
So I don't know if I'm down to say that they're struggling. I do think what has changed is at first glance, and obviously we thought the league had a bunch of upgrades last year, and then some of those teams kind of busted out or had their own issues. But theoretically, there should be a lot more threats for them this year. Because I do think last year that was just like there were all these different issues, things were weird. Maybe those will pop back up again, but like EG looks pretty okay. I know it's only lock-in, small sample size, but like people are excited about their roster, and I think a way that they weren't last year. And I think a lot of these other teams are maybe they're just taking TSM spot in the hype train, but I don't know. You don't think there's more threats, Guilhoto? You seemed skeptical of my take.
I think that there was some kind of bigger expectations for spring EG, not summer. I think summer EG did really well, especially in the regular season. And I do think that they got better. I think the signing of Vulcan and Inspired was incredible. Jojo Pion is also a really good player, but I just think that the signing of those two made them in really, really strong. But at the same time, like we are talking about 100 Thieves now having more threats. I don't think 100 Thieves were favored to win any split last year, and I don't think they were now. And whoever thought that at some point 100 Thieves was favored to win a split last year at this point of the year is just straight up lying. So it's the exact same thing. Like who has a crystal ball to know what's going to happen, what changes are going to happen between spring and summer, what top laner is gonna have issues with the coaching staff and then just become a fiesta? What AD carry is gonna get benched to academy after MSI? Like, who knows everything that can happen? So like, I can see, honestly, the only thing that I can conclude from now is that the likely scenario is that EG, C9, Team Liquid, and 100 Thieves will be fighting for Worlds. If some other team joins, might be TSM due to the unknown factor of their roster, which is very hard to make them which is very hard to even like quantify them. But other than that, like, who knows if, like, imagine that IMT just signs fucking Uzi in between spring and summer, you know? Then they're gonna be a contender or something like that. Like, who knows?
How dare you besmirch Wild Turtle by suggesting he's not on the same level as a recently unretired Uzi?
One thing you mentioned there was about the EG signing of their new young players. It got brought up this week on the Reddit threads. I almost talked about it, but the Doublelift was saying that it was like salty on his stream a little bit about how like these orgs don't want to win, they just want to develop talent. If you were in Peter Dunn's shoes and you had the Jensen Doublelift lineup being flaunted at you, and like let's say budget wasn't a huge concern, would you go Jojo Danny or Doublelift Jensen?
I would have to think about mid lane, but I would go with Danny. With Danny, I would not think about it. Yeah.
Damn.
With between Jensen and I do think that Jensen is an incredible. It's just like an incredible, fantastic player, and it's not. I'm not saying that like Jojo is bad or anything, but I think that thinking between the quality of these two players, I think that right now Jensen is probably still a better player. It's more the question of where can Jojo be after the split, and I think that the coaching staff and the teammates that he has on EG can bring him very, very good progress. But I think that in that case there is an argument to be made. I think that on AD carry there's no argument to be made in my opinion. I don't want to be like mean or anything, but I think that Danny had a fantastic year, and even at the start of this year, Danny was already a better player than Doublelift, and obviously he has way more margin of progression than Doublelift. So I think that the only argument would be a mid lane, and I think both decisions would be correct. And I also think that keeping Jizuke would, if there were no import issues, obviously, would also be a correct decision. So I want to shout out to my Italian stallion.
I mean, the other thing that I think a lot of people don't consider is like, there's a world where maybe keeping Jojo and Danny allowed them to go spend money for like Inspired or something. There's always budgetary decisions that are being made in this type of stuff too. I have not heard anything
disregarding budget.
Stuff,
I was asked disregarding budget.
Yeah. I'm speaking broadly because I think we've talked a lot about the subject before, but I don't know if I've done a good enough job, I think, of also demonstrating or discussing the budgetary side of it. So, no, I mean, I think it's good. I'm glad you brought it up, Mark, because it's a fun conversation. AntiPhoenix, thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
Shout out to lead content creators like Mark, Dom, LS, Travis, Emily. I think content creators are really great right now. Shout out to Game Fuel, Alienware, and Grubhub. And shout out to Yay Miku enjoyers. Yeah.
Hey,
nice.
we're feasting, Sasuke.
Yes.
Yep, Sasuke. Yeah. All right. Thank you all. Yeah. Take care.
Thank you so much for the call. Cool. All right. It's already working. We've got already getting our Grubhub shout outs, which is fantastic because that's now they've got something to show the Grubhub folks tomorrow. Look, it's already happening. Then they have to also explain what a Yay Miko is. So I don't know how they're going to figure that one out. Okay. Ollie1, thank you for the 22 months.
Like, I did forget to say something. I do want to know where, because, man, I should start keeping track of this. Not on this topic because it's not about my team, but like there were a lot of people saying about the thing of like the Doublelift and Jensen thing. Like, there were a lot of people flaming EG for this offseason for literally no reason.
Were they flaming them? I just thought it was like a fun discussion.
They were like disappointed with some of the options. Like, and I think that like it was very dumb. Like I'm gonna be honest. The way that I saw EG offseason is as soon as I saw LCS MVP or LEC MVP in the jungle, Vulcan in support, like the offseason can't be flamed anymore. Like they can put me and Marks mid jungle, and the offseason still, or mid AD, and the offseason still couldn't be flamed. You know, like it's just.
I mean, dude. Nobody that like
Peter
just looking
didn't
at
have
from
an offseason in his fucking career.
But
Peter didn't have a bad offseason.
Speak. Well, first off, I want to spread out some of the attention too, because I know it's not just Peter, but also their GM and everybody who are making a lot of these decisions. But I'm surprised you're surprised. Doublelift is like the most popular North American player to ever exist, and Jensen was coming off a great Worlds appearance and looked great. And I'm not just saying that the flame is justified or that like people, but obviously people are going to be like, what the heck? Like, you're gonna not have like the man with the most pentakills ever and Jensen.
No, I think that like people. I think once again, I think that the Doublelift Danny is just ridiculous to talk about. People, I think, could like just say, I think they should have gone for Jensen instead of Jojo. The conversation wasn't around that. The conversation that I'm criticizing was the EG lost the offseason. They had an opportunity to be literally world champions, and they decided to be like out of worlds. Like, what?
I mean, I didn't see. Where did you see? I'm not. Okay, I'm just curious. Where did you see this stuff? Was it Reddit?
To back Andre up, it wasn't actually probably as much on Reddit because it was coming more from like probably YouTube and like other areas where these people's fan bases are more.
Yeah.
Like the majority. I think I definitely saw some of that where people thought that EG was just straight trolling. And they're like, write blank checks to these players, you know, like if the budgets work, make it happen. And even like they were like, even if you're not that much better, think of the brand power you have from signing these players. Like there was some hard sales on. They should have gone the Doublelift.
But I think the brand stuff.
Always knew Danny and Jojo were the best players ever. I always knew. Leave evil. EG win. Same people, you know.
I mean, the brand thing for me is part of the interesting conversation around this, right? That like, it's funny to me because I think the other way of looking at it from the way that Peter, I did not see the clip of Peter talking about this, though I did see that Tim was making a video out of it, but like the other way of looking at it from what Peter was saying is like, EG made a very unpopular decision. They made the play, like, if they had only cared about their brand, then there was a very obvious play, which was Jensen and Doublelift. And so I think that is part of why this decision is so interesting to me and why it deserves a lot of discussion at multiple points throughout the year, because they opted in for two players who do not have huge brands. Obviously, Danny started to get a lot of attention at the end of last year, but if you asked the general League of Legends esports fan, or even just the general North American fan, who Danny is versus Doublelift, you're gonna see a pretty big divide. So, like, I think that it is like fascinating.
Take it full on the other way, where like Doublelift, that it seems like Doublelift's just a bad player. I don't think so. Like, that's not what, and that Doublelift wouldn't add value to EG. It probably would, And with Doublelift Jensen, they would still be a very strong team. But Danny had a fantastic split, was a top 80 carry in his first split in LCS at such a young age. Like, he's gonna be the absolute future, him and Jojo probably now, if he does as well as Danny, of the whole organization. At a level that is, at the start of spring, at the bare minimum, similar or very similar to Doublelift. And the progress that you expect him to have is much bigger, or should be much bigger, than Doublelift, where, like, as it should be, because it's a normal thing, his last year or 2 years were a bit more stale. The curve of development was more stale. So, like, if you're thinking about the whole year, then that's why for me the DL Danny cut is
I mean,
easy to make a decision.
So people are gonna, if I take any kind of counterpoint of this, people are just gonna be like, "Oh, Travis Doublelift" or whatever. So I'm not even gonna talk about Doublelift. Let's just say we're talking about him versus, Danny versus like Uzi, or pick a really popular European ADC or something, Hansama. I don't know. What, like, the only question I have, Andre, or the only reason why I'm more doubtful is like LCS is littered with players who have had one good split and then did not, like, people thought Tactical was like the second coming of God when he was playing in that summer, his first summer, and then he obviously did not have that good of a year. There's why can I not remember Mike Young had like a great time at one point in time in the LCS and then like never achieved that again. And so I think for me, that is why like it is exciting to see them make such a big bet on somebody, because I do think there is at least some gamble. Like, it is disingenuous in my mind for people to just assume like that, or to not recognize that EG is making a bet, because somebody who's had like one good split is not guaranteed to continue to have great splits.
I completely agree with you, but the people that have the best information to make that decision are the people that work with him throughout the year, and none of us, and none of the Redditors. Those are the ones that should make that decision, because they have way more information than any of us. And if they are wrong, they should be the ones to blame if they are wrong. But if they are right, they should also get the praise.
Yes.
The reality of it is that we don't have access to EG comms. We don't have access to how Danny behaves on a day-to-day, and they do. So whenever are things like this, I always choose to trust in the decision of the people that have the most amount of information.
The other thing I'll say too, and this is something Doublelift talked about in his like little discussion over the weekend, was like, just because you're a veteran doesn't mean that you're stagnant in your play. Like, you can get better, you can get worse, you can continue to grow and learn new things because the game changes all the time. And I think you can look at a player like Afromu, who's a super long veteran, and he's had better splits, depending on the year, despite playing forever. Like, they do change. But I think part of the things that you're weighing as a GM is like not just how do you build the most immediately good roster, but to something Andre mentioned, like long-term future, like a player who has come and gone a couple times throughout his career and has had splits that he seems to not put the effort in, versus, like Andre's saying, a very young player who's probably still 4,000% committed to professional League of Legends. I can see why, with the experience they had with him, they would choose to continue to believe in Danny, because you have a potential franchise player on your hands that you can build up and build around.
I think this is a discussion that could go obviously for ages. I'm just excited to see what EG can do. I think we talked a lot, or during the offseason, a lot was talked about how Cloud9 or LS is able to put his ideas to test, right? I think same can be said to EG. Peter Dunn, with his bet on rookies, worked in EU. Can it work in NA? Let's see. This is the year where we'll see. I think it will. I'll be happy to be proven right or wrong. Just excited to see.
And, by the way, Empire, who I love, and I'm not trying to flame, but said in chat, talk about which other teams should go for a Doublelift plus Jensen package. Stop isolating the topic to EG, LL, 9 other teams in the league. Should it be the 5 teams that they would have never joined? Or should...
Yeah, I think that takes a bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, there was one team that this TSM could have done it.
Just TSM.
We saw how that went.
It's literally just TSM.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little disingenuous to say that, why is everyone focusing on EG? Because EG had the fucking offer to do this on the table, and they did not take it. There were not 9 other teams who could have done this.
If Doublelift would actually want to join TSM, right? So maybe it was actually just EG.
Yes.
But then it's but if it was only just EG, then why are we putting the responsibility of, if Jensen and Doublelift don't have a team, is purely because of EG? I don't
How
think that's
dare
also
CLG not go for Doublelift and Jensen? They would have been clamoring to sign.
Doublelift rocking the Golden Guardians gold. Couldn't you just see him in that jersey?
Poor Blaze.
Never in a million.
We'll
Never in
see.
you.
I honestly think that there is a high chance, especially for Jensen, that a team makes a change between spring and summer. I think that if your mid laner doesn't work, you do have a lot of options. It was a weird off-season for mid laners. Jensen, Niski, Jizuke. So let's see.
Well, before our final caller, we're going to take our final break of the night to mention, and Guilhoto, you can hide yourself if you need to for sponsor conflicts. Game Fuel, Mountain Dew Game Fuel, a delicious product that Mark and I enjoy. In fact, this can matches my shirt tonight. I'm drinking the Charged Orange Storm. Mark is drinking. Is that the watermelon one? Mark, I don't know if we get sponsor renewals whenever you start licking the can on
Why?
air.
Even the can tastes good. I can't help it.
You get. To be clear, we are not suggesting that as
flavored,
a feature of the
I'm
product.
not saying eat it or it just I like it.
We
just
are
looks
not
good. It's a good-looking can.
Dear God. Okay. Anyway, please go to gamefuel.com/Travis and check them out. You can use code Travis to save 5% at checkout. They make wonderful packages of drinks, wonderful products, including the variety pack, which is what I recommend. And I saw some people purchasing that, I think, in the past week, tweeting about it. If you've never tried Mountain Dew Game Fuel before, you can order the variety pack and try out some different flavors and find out which one is best for you. But hopefully you enjoy multiple of them. So just really appreciate everything that Game Fuel has done for us in the past year. It's coming up on a year since we were able to announce them, and it's been fantastic seeing Jack in the chat. Good to see you, Jack. Hope all's well. Yeah, we love Game Fuel. Thank you for sponsoring the show. If you're watching on YouTube, you can check the link in the description, which I'd really appreciate. You can also do !Game Fuel in the chat. Thank you, Game Fuel. We love Game Fuel. All right. Ready for our final call of the night. Jack, you missed the call that was about how C9 were going to crush it the rest of the year. And already we're doing it with the LS on it. Sully is here. Sully, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Toronto, Canada, where we had a huge snowstorm today.
Toronto, Canada. Huge snowstorm? Wow.
Oh yeah, I had to dig myself out of my apartment earlier today. Took me like 3 hours.
Oh wow.
It's like 4 or 5 feet of snow.
Oh, I'm so glad I no longer live anywhere with snow.
Yeah. I mean, if we're closed down in Canada, you can imagine how bad it has to be.
You had to dig, so you open the door and it's just a wall of snow?
Yeah, I'm in like a walkout basement apartment, and there was like literally like a wall of snow. I had to like dig out. It was fun.
Jesus. Well, what do you want to talk about on the show?
So my take is I'm an average LCS fan. I always hear Travis going on and on about how like you need to appeal more to average LCS fans.
Are you an average LCS fan? You're watching and calling into Hotline League on an evening.
I'm an average. I have never ever posted a take for Hotline League until today. In fact, I had to go and get my baby who woke up when Mark was like, "Hey, come and take my take," because that's how average.
Do you go to Reddit?
I have never had a Reddit account.
Ever. Okay. How much LCS do you watch?
Doesn't mean you don't go to Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most weeks.
Can you go to Reddit without Reddit account?
No, I don't. I don't do anything on Reddit. I don't have time.
I'm how much LCS do you watch?
With a full-time job and a kid and another kid on the way. So
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks.
Nice brag. But how much time do you spend watching LCS?
Yeah, I know. You got to get that humble break. I have not sat down to watch like an actual week of LCS probably in like a year. I always catch the highlights.
Okay.
Like I never feel like it's worth my time investment to sit down on like a weekend.
Do you watch international play?
I watched, I think, the group stage until NA was eliminated, and then I stopped watching. Like I kept up with what happened, but like I wasn't invested enough to actually like ever tune into a stream.
Okay, but you still have strong opinions about it.
If this isn't the average LCS fan,
strong opinions.
It's a good cosplay. If it's
no, I agree.
Well, see, I'm one of that 36% of people who didn't watch last week, so I'm in that statistic. So
wait, there's a statistic. What's the statistic?
Oh, you didn't see this?
Oh, I saw someone else put a take of like 30, like lock-in viewership was down 36% from last year. So I'm just kind of stealing that person's.
I did not see
statistics as
that.
they get their
Why
take.
didn't we pull that take? Okay.
Because they used that stat, but then the take went in like into left field a little bit.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it did. It definitely did.
So either way, I mean, we can maybe combo that.
Oh,
a
it
little
was
bit
Dave.
Here, but...
Sure.
Okay, Sully, sorry, go ahead. What's your average LCS fan accepted? What is your take?
my take is I'm very confused about what the point of lock-in is this year, because when last year I had tuned into Hotline League, I watched the VOD, and Peter Dunn was in here saying like, oh, like most teams will have their full LCS roster, and like the few times that I could actually like peep like an LCS highlight from the first day of lock-in, you know, all I see is like there's no full like LCS rosters. Most
Yeah, there were only
rosters at
4.
least have some.
There were 4.
Yeah.
There's only,
When
most
did
rosters at
Peter
least have
say
some
that?
academy
He
teams.
said it, but he was
Last
confused
week,
by
Hotline League.
Team Liquid's lineup. He thought that
Yeah,
That
like
he
JJ
said
wouldn't
based
play.
on scrims.
He
He said
considered
based
you
on
guys.
scrims.
He considered you guys even without core JJ basically a full roster.
So
Yeah, I mean,
But-
I remember hearing something like that. So then I wanted Cordier to play because he said he wouldn't play. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay, so sorry,
so
Sully. So
I
you're
was- I
confused
was
by
under
what
the
lock-in is.
impression-
Continue on.
I know what lock it is, but I'm confused about why should I, as an average LCS fan, watch it? Because it really feels like an invitational tournament, and it's the few times that I even peered at a game, it was a complete like blowout for the team that had more LCS caliber players on their roster compared to the team that they were facing. You know, and like that's not entertaining League of Legends. Like I don't want to watch a game where like one team just blows out the other team. Like I'm not that invested.
You did not watch
I
lock-in
think,
last
for
year.
example, the TLEG game is a better game to watch than
It is, yeah.
90% of the games last
like,
year,
most of
even
them,
this
like,
young.
Yes, that's true. And also like most of TSM's games from Lock-In and all of Immortals games. So, you know, like it's why I don't really understand. Like I want to understand what the mindset is of like teams going in. Like why sell me? Why should I be invested and like spend whatever like free time I have watching Lock-In?
One point I'll throw in support of Sully, as I don't necessarily think this myself, but I can see the average LCS fan thinking this, is that like realistically we played 15 games, and looking at the matchups on paper, there was maybe 2 you were excited for, EGTL and 100 Thieves C9 didn't even play.
Yeah, it's gonna be next week. So
yeah.
So it's like one game that you are actually interested. Yeah.
Yeah, because two of the roster, like I personally love CLG lineup, and I enjoyed watching their games. FlyQuest, I was watching their stuff, but like a lot of the teams that did have their full lineup were not the big brand name teams. TSM was vacant. C9, I still enjoyed watching, but it wasn't really this Korean lineup that had some more players coming in and stuff. So like I can understand why the average LCS fan might look at those games and just toss them out the window because it's like, oh, this isn't even their lineup. I don't care.
Did you know, Sully, by the way, that was not TSM's lineup?
I knew basically what their lineup was gonna be with like they had like the new imports and they were going in a new direction, but I didn't know what lineup they were gonna play in Lock-In.
I actually have a few reasons for you to watch Lock-In.
Okay.
I think that Riot didn't do the best job selling Lock-In, because I think that Riot should know that half or more than half of the teams will not be completed because we are in the pandemic situation and in a region that imports a lot of their players. Even players that don't count as imports, if they went home for Christmas, can, and if they are in need of renewing visa in case that they are of the grandfathered, they will still have some delays. I think the way that you can sell it is through points of interest that were created during the offseason where you have the first glimpse on. Stuff like, I think you should turn into C9 games to see how Fudge is doing mid, because that was a big thing. Is C9 ever going to pick first pick Renekton now that they have LS? Or is that a thing that they will save only when their top laner is here? Are they going to play mages mid? Is Blabber gonna adopt a more full clear style instead of which LS really likes, instead of like trying to do this cheesy ganks and the contest of crabs and whatnot. But mainly like even if it's just as simple of I want to see how Fudge is doing mid, this will define if C9 has success or not. I think that's a good point to see. Yell, Bjergsen is coming back from a year of coaching. Is he still the same Bjergsen or not as before? Have the opportunity to see Hansama, even if they don't have the Hansama core bot lane. You go to 100 Thieves. How are they gonna do now that they are the champions? Hype them up as the defending champions. What other roster is complete? You go to IMT. They managed to get 5th place last year. They, in theory, just upgraded mid and AD. Are they gonna show that they are contenders? This is their tournament to win, since a lot of the teams are failing. Another topic for all the other teams, the bottom teams, academy teams. A lot of people are asking that LCS bottom teams are absolutely trash, that there should be a tournament that involves academy and LCS bottom teams. Well, here's your chance. TSM Academy just beat, correct me if I'm wrong, FlyQuest. So you can see academy teams can beat bottom LCS teams. That is a thing that is confirmed. That timeline can be confirmed. Like, there are a lot of small storylines, stuff like I want to see TL versus IMT because like there is my relationship with him, there is the Bjergsen against PoE. Like, it's just a matter of how does Riot exploit it. And if Riot explores it in a way of like, lock-in is a very important tournament, it's going to be trash. If Riot exploits it to this is the first glimpse that you can have to these storylines and we are going to explore and shove it down your throat with these storylines, then lock-in becomes interesting. That is my take.
I will say, I'm sorry, Mark, that I was a little surprised that 20 minutes of the start of the broadcast on Friday was like, Raz is twerking. Watch Raz twerk. I saw more Raz twerking, I think, than I ever needed to see on the LCS broadcast during that time. Like a lot of just going through tweets, like community tweets or whatever. I think I kind of agree with the idea of like, it would have been really cool to spend the first 30 minutes kind of priming like, okay, guys, what's the deal with lock-in? Well, first off, let's address the elephant in the room. Haha, some of these teams are running like subs or whatever. Here's like a couple of quick hits from like the coaches or some folks on like whether or not what their goals are for lock-in, like hearing each of the teams kind of talk about their goals or whatever. And then, yeah, like a pretty big profile on a lot of the little stories that Guilhoto had mentioned. Like so my understanding, I will say, is that a lot of like the hype. Well, here, I'll just say this. I don't know if I should say this, but I haven't.
Oh
been
my
told not
god,
to.
he's just gonna say it.
No, it's not that spicy. It's just like they had a. I posted 2 interviews from Asset Week where they were shooting all this cool stuff with all these players and all these teams and all this stuff, and then because of the COVID surge in LA, they were only able to get, I think, like half of it done. I mean, on the days that I was supposed to go, we only got 1 of the days done out of the 5. And so I know that they are hoping to get a lot of stuff done going in for like the start of season versus start of lock-in. Still, I am confused at some of the decisions that they made in storytelling on the broadcast and on some of like the early messaging beforehand. Like I know I kind of talked about the countdown to lock-in that they did on the Twitter stuff last time, where they were putting like highlight reels out from all the previous years or whatever. But like, I do agree with Guilhoto that like I wish they had done sort of more storytelling for what the stakes are with lock-in. And maybe you guys did, and I missed it on some of the later days, because I will say that I was checking in on some of the co-streams, so I do want to be honest about that stuff. But like, I don't know, the Friday starting broadcast to me was like very confusing. I think that stuff is fine on like week 3 of the LCS or week 4, but it's such a strange way to start off like the new year to have so much like goofy stuff happening. I don't know. So Sully, Guilhoto took it in that direction, and I think it was like a good way to answer your question. I think the other thing I would ask you is like, did you watch Lock-In last year?
Yeah, I watched all of Lock-In last year.
Did you like it?
I thought Lock-In was really great. I
So-
thought that it was really cool to see like all the new lineups and like to see like, because like the offseason last year was really hype, right? I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of the
And this wasn't.
the acquisitions didn't work out, but I mean, I mean, like we didn't have it. We had like the EG's jungler, right? Which was, I would say, like the only person comparable to like the Perks and Alfari pickups of last year, right? But then there were both of those, and like there were
Sir?
a lot of strong teams, and
Excuse
there was a lot of stuff
me.
going on.
Someone
right?
might have
Like,
unretired.
Perks coming to NA was like the biggest. I don't know that I only Travis saw that coming. Nobody, I don't know if anybody saw it coming. Me and my average LCS brain did not see that coming.
Bjergsen,
Hansam was pretty
Hans,
hyped, I guess. But
Inspired, Vulcan leaving C9,
Whippo.
Whippo,
right, but I'm an LCS fan.
Pudge,
right?
Pudge.
I mean, I will say that
Pudge going to mid
Inspired,
lane.
like
LS being able to apply the things that he has been preaching for so long on a team. You had one of the best top laners in LCK joining NA. You had people from LCK Academy coming. You had TSM that is basically just doing a completely unknown for most of the fans in LPL. Like, I'm not saying that last offseason was hyped or not, but this offseason was really fucking hyped. There was a lot of things happening.
I'm not saying it wasn't, but I think that like last offseason was like the most hyped offseason we've ever had.
I do you mean the two off seasons ago? You're saying before the 2021
this one
season.
was more though.
Yeah. I mean, I
honestly feel this one is more.
No, Guilhoto. To Sully's point, I think even if this one was more, the one before it had a very easy narrative, right? Which is like Doublelift and Bjergsen are gone. The three the three emperors are coming in from an Alfari, Perks, and Sword Art to the three big teams, and they're all going to do some big stuff. Like, but
let me actually give the caller an example. Like, let's say that you turn into broadcast, right? First game is C9. C9 is playing, okay? Like, do you care if broadcast is saying, let's see how C9 plays. This is how I think the C9 roster will do in Spring Split. Do you care about that?
Like, but this doesn't really affect Spring Split. You know what I mean?
Exactly, but that's what's being told. They are talking about like the future instead of the things that are about to happen in the screen. Like, no offense, but like if I'm a viewer, I really don't care about C9 talk at all. I care about how our C9's draft's gonna be because of LS. Even if he's not drafting, pretend he is. You can do it as a broadcast. They are talking every day, and I want to know like how the fuck Fudge is gonna play. So, like, the only thing that I want to see on the pregame of C9 is some clips of LS ideas that he said on stream, some Fudge stats from top lane, and how can that translate into mid lane? Did he have big CS difference against the enemy top laners? Can he have it on mid lane? What is he playing in solo queue? Like, that's the only thing I care. I don't care how Sven and Niles are gonna. Not Sven and Niles. I don't care how Berserker is gonna play because he's not playing in the lock-in. That's not what I'm gonna be able to see. Show me that when you have Spring Split. Right now focus me on Fudge. Focus me on the drafts in LS. Focus on that. Don't need anything else.
Telling me the other way because apparently they're not doing the things that you're saying.
Yes, I know, but I'm not saying it's because it's your bad that. I'm not saying it's your bad that you're not watching. I'm saying that like you just don't have incentives to watch when the first contact that you have is either Raz twerking or people talking about. I think that C9 with their full roster can actually compete for a top spot for Worlds, or I think they can win a split. Or wow, 100 Thieves didn't make any change. I think they can win split again. Instead of like 100 Thieves just brought Tenacity. He had this split in Academy. Like the game before Tenacity plays, focus only on Tenacity. Only Tenacity matters. The Tenacity would be the only reason why me as a viewer want to watch a 100 Thieves game. It's just that,
I mean,
you know, it's just
You guys are
focus
agreeing, by the
on
way.
the specific things.
Sully,
Yeah, but
just so you know, he's not going.
But I'm just like I'm
He's
just
very
I'm just
passionate,
like
but he's not
ranting
going
around is just because that's what I feel that the point of lock-in should not be to hype up the teams from spring split. Should be to hype up the moves that are going to happen in lock-in.
Yeah.
So hype Bjergsen coming back from retirement. Like the Jojo versus Bjergsen matchup should have had like a segment of 2-3 minutes before the match. Old versus new. Boom. Bring it in. Hype like C9, I've talked a lot. When we play versus TL and there's no coach versus player narrative going on, it's really bad. Like it's just bad. Like we just have to focus on broadcast to bring the things that people are gonna see, and not set up expectations of the full rosters in spring split. That's not why people would watch lock-in. Do that in spring.
I mean, I agree.
I was going to give my much less based take on this, which is a little bit more practical. But
no one wants to hear it anymore.
Guilhoto is very impassioned, and so I appreciate him doing this. And yeah, now it's not as cool. But the simple thing here, Sully, is everything Guilhoto just said I agree with. The other thing is lock-in was a good tournament last year. I don't think that they need. I don't know if Riot knew how bad things were going to be for the start of this year in terms of visas and getting players and their full rosters and all that stuff. I think if this is what lock-in looks like every year, then yeah, maybe you don't do it. I don't know what you do instead. The question is like, are you delaying LCS for like 3 weeks when every other league in the world is like starting off? That feels bad. Do you start LCS whenever like people don't have their rosters in yet? That looks bad. Oh, who's saying hello? Who's in the background?
It's Ben.
Ben. Okay, nice.
Oh, Ben.
I loved his work moving the backdrop into the background.
And now Joanna came in on her pajamas.
Anyway, my point is
get Ben out of there.
Get out of here.
My point is, I think this lock-in feels really bad. I don't want people to shit on lock-in so much because I don't want lock-in to disappear as a product, because I think in a normal year or in a better year, it's much better. I agree with Guilhoto, though, that the broadcast is not doing a great job of it, and there's a single man who's responsible for it, and he keeps escaping the camera right now, trying to hide himself. We all know to blame Mark. We're echoing a bit over Guilhoto's microphone right now because I'm so loud. Either way, Mark, do you have anything to say for yourself as you have to salvage what relationship you have with the LCS broadcast?
This was not a good... I don't like where this call ended up going. I don't like where this went.
Well, here, shout out here. Everybody please recognize that Mark had the balls to pull this take, even though obviously he's trying to quote-unquote earn his spot back.
I thought we would just sell the average LCS viewer on why to watch.
I don't know what the bloop was. Anyway, okay.
What was that bloop? That wasn't me.
We started that way. It had an optimistic beginning.
Sully, thanks for your call.
It's like, okay, Marks, what we did, or at least what I tried to do, is sell the caller.
No, you're good. You're good.
Why
you're good.
to watch? But I think that Riot should sell the other people in the similar situation of the caller to watch as well.
Thank you, Sully, for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
Well, I'll shout out my toddler for staying asleep long enough for me to be on the show. I'll shout out Guilhoto. I think that him and Inero should get a show, like a talk show, and name it, Flame by Your Coach. And just
Inero sucks at basketball. We can't do anything together. No, I'm kidding. Actually, am I?
I don't know if you are. No. Yeah, I'm just happy to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. It's a great topic, and it cost Mark probably even more broadcast time, but I appreciate you for taking it. Thanks so much for calling, and we'll catch you next time. All right. Well, let's start with Mark. Mark, you have any shout outs? What do you want to promote? What's going on?
I recorded a Blame game today. I did it live on stream. I showed all my research, showed me recording it, showed me editing an assembly cut of it together. So if anyone's ever curious about how I make the blame game, go ahead and follow my Twitch. I'll be making them every Monday morning. Then I play some Genshin on stream as well. Shout out Travis's YouTube channel where all this shit goes, all my league content. And that's mostly it. My personal YouTube's taken a hit with how busy I ended up being last week and maybe this week as well. But I'll be doing a lot more of that when things settle down too.
Insanity in chat says stick to Genshin content, Mark Z.
Oh, fuck.
Do you play Genshin, Insanity? If so, maybe we should have you on Resin Refresh, which we're doing tomorrow with Atsu.
Showed up out of nowhere and took a shot at me. Ouch.
I know. Mark's just been having a tough episode, I feel
I've been
like.
getting kicked today.
But tomorrow we're doing Resin Refresh with Atsu, so if you guys do like Genshin content, please tune into that. Make sure you catch it on either live or on the Genshin channel. Also, I interviewed Merry and Pippin from Lord of the Rings on Rift Reaction, the podcast I normally do with Emily. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it to that episode. She was very apologetic that she couldn't make it, and I had to interview Merry and Pippin all by myself. And I was trying to be like, it's okay, you can skip this episode, it's fine, I've got it. But it was super fun, and it was an amazing interview. And those guys love League of Legends. And Dominic Monaghan, I was like, do you have any favorite players? He's like, he gave like the I love Faker, thing. And then he got into, he's like, but like, by the way, Dopa is amazing. He's like a person who's never been able to play before. It has this amazing storyline. He's like, there's a player named Chovy, right? Because like Chovy was sick. It was fantastic. It's on Spotify. Look up Rift Reaction. It's so good. Highly recommend. I was having so much fun. Guilhoto, finally, what do you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug?
Shout out, obviously, to Alienware, of course, Monster. You see here, and here, Honda. I still need to memorize all our sponsors. Help me out here, Travis.
Jersey Mike's,
Coinbase,
Jersey Mike's, SAP, yes,
Pornhub.
They help you with the data. Nope.
Shut up.
I'm on the partners page.
Shout out
Verizon.
To obviously, also to
Verizon.
Also to TL and all the viewers. I think those questions were very, very good. Really enjoyed to be here. So shout out to you too as well. And good luck on the broadcast meetings, Mark.
Verizon,
Thanks, man.
Bud Light, Secret Lab, Hoya, HyperX, Kingston, which is there, IMC, and I think you got everybody else. There you go.
Let's go.
Thanks for coming on, Guilhoto. This is actually a banger episode.
Yeah, this was super fun.
I appreciate the invite.
I will wrap up the show now, but please, we post all this stuff on Spotify and other podcast platforms. So if you want to go do that, please do. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Mark's got an episode coming out. I've got a ton of interviews coming out. It's going to be a big week. Thank you to Grubhub for sponsoring us. You're going to hear about them a whole lot this year, and there's going to be some cool content. So thanks again, everyone. This has been Hotline League, episode 204.